What is up, YouTube? Today we are back with a normal tier list, like just a character ranking tier list, not about moves, and this is going to be my updated opinions for the end of 2022. Some things have changed. Let's get into it. Of course, before we do, subscribe, turn on notification, ring the bell. I'm going to have multiple parts and also a full-length tier list, so these are going to be the parts first, and then the full length will be out after, because people sometimes like watching both, so just so you know. Bam! Okay, let's go. So we're going to be going bottom up, and of course, the worst character in the game, definitively Ganondorf. Ganondorf sucks. Because he is slow, he does not have a lot of combos. He is slow in the air, he has a bad recovery. He has nothing going for him except amazing moves. His moves are so good, but it doesn't matter because he sucks. Like, his stats are so bad that like a low-key, like high tier or top tier moveset just literally doesn't matter. So he's bad. Second worst character in the game is Little Mac. He's the master of inconsistency. One of the things that I value really, really highly on my tier list is, one, being able to just play that character. This is a solo main tier list, not a usefulness as a counterpick tier list. So it's solo mains, specifically no secondaries. You need to main this character and just play them in by themselves, and that's how this tier list is going to work. And Little Mac, you can't play this character solo unless you're just significantly better than everyone, in which case that's player diff, not matchups. Like Little Mac loses upwards of 50 matchups. And then even when he doesn't, he's a character that can both accidentally win because he has KO punch, but also accidentally lose because he gets hit off stage. Like, there have been times that I'm losing to Little Max, like on Elite Smash, and then I'm just like, oh, back throw, I read the air dodge, okay, and then you side beat and now you're dead. Peanut is sick. I think it's Tarakatori from Japan is sick. Character sucks. Like, they're just really good. Like, those players are just amazing. And then the third worst character in the game. This character has almost nothing going for them except for aura. It's Lucario. Don't play this character. This character sucks. Lucario is literally a gimmick. He is a gimmick that cannot play the game 66% of the time. I don't care that his Nair is plus or minus 0 on block. I don't care that Aura Sphere is cool. The only time any Lucario does well is when you don't know the matchup, or it's one of the 8 characters that can't kill you in this game, but most characters can kill you in this game. And again, you can tell this is not my bias because one of those 8 characters is Pika. Pika literally is even or loses to Lucario. I think it's even. Like, I think that's 100% an even matchup. And it's one of the only good matchups in the game that Lucario has. Like, especially of any relevant characters. Yeah, I think Lucario is so bad. Armadillo thinks Lucario's top 40 at worst. He's crazy, but you know a character is bad when the best rep of that character puts them in, like, low-high tier? Who does that? That's not a thing that happens in this game. So yeah, I think this character sucks. And that's it for this tier. I think those are the only 3 characters that are unviable. Literally every character above these 3 is tournament viable. I think you can get pretty good results as literally any other character in the game. So Banjo doesn't really have results, but again, I don't factor results into it a lot. It is still important to talk about because Banjo still has some really good stuff. He's still like obnoxious. He can beat characters that lose to zoning, like even relevant characters like Luigi. He's annoying and he has Wonder Wing combos and he has like the weird like pop gun, or not pop gun, whatever, Regal Blaster confirmed stuff. But the thing is, it's hard to get into the correct things and actually get your kills really early, because the problem is Banjo does not do damage. Banjo's like highest damage in combos, other than the task stuff, which doesn't count because you're never going to be able to do that, is like 30%. Every character in the game can do more than 30% except for 0% Aura Lucario. So he needs a lot of neutral wins to get you to the percent where he can randomly kill you early, but if he doesn't randomly kill you early with the Regal Blaster into side B confirm, you're not really dying to this character often unless you're getting hard red. Again, he does have really good 2 frames and he has really good ledge trapping, but like, he's not crazy because that's kind of all he has. You can kind of avoid his scary spots and that's about it. I've watched a lot of Lucky recently, the American Piranha Plant. Also, I think Brood's coming back a little bit. Plant is still bad. He's still a bad character. Do not get me wrong. Again, bottom 6. But the problem is bottom 6 in this game is still viable. I mean, he got like 13th at Big House or something like that. And as far as I remember, he had some pretty big upsets. Again, maybe it's a matchup check, but Plant is just a little bit more annoying in my opinion than Banjo because Patooey is a really, really good move. Like, Patooey is better than every move on Banjo. He also kills early. He has a kill throw. That's like a really good kill throw, but an up throw. He has some decent tilts. He has a good aerial and up air. He has forward air. He has some pretty good edge guarding because of Patooey. The plants are also getting a lot better at recovering. He's heavy, so he lives a long time. He does get comboed because of that though, but also because he's such a fast faller, he's a little awkward to combo, honestly. He kills so well to me that like it's a buff because you're not really ever going to be like, oh man, my opponent's at 160 and I can't kill them as Plant, because you have back air and up smash and up throw and forward air and Patooey and down B, and also he racks up damage really fast because of Poison Cloud. So if you're not careful in neutral, he's gonna Poison Cloud you, you're gonna take 40% and get put off stage by a forward throw, and then like you're just ready to die. I don't think Plant is a good character, but Plant is an underrated character. Next up, we have King DDD. DDD is a very mediocre character. He can catch you sleeping, but again, similar to Plant, he just randomly kills you sometimes and has good ledge trapping. So it's a character that can definitely steal games because he puts you into his win condition, plays the win condition, and then wins. Granted, there are ways to get around both of these ledge trapping characters, in my opinion, that aren't super difficult, but DDD is a character that can live forever, and he gets opportunities to get these hits a lot more frequently. You mess up dealing with Patui twice because you're not a sword character, and suddenly you take 40 plus the forward airs that you're going to get hit by. You get put at the ledge, you get Gordo down smash, and you die at 80. You get dash attack 2-framed at literally 45 to 60% depending on your weight, and you die. DDD is a character that can accidentally win, whereas you can't accidentally win against DDD. He's super heavy, he has a good enough recovery, he has multiple jumps. It's really hard to randomly kill DDD early unless you're someone like Kazuya or Steve, but those two are very good characters, and most of the cast can't really do that. But again, I don't think the character's good, but he has enough that he can eke out a few wins in there and gets a couple upsets. I mean, we've seen a couple DDDs get upsets. Like, again, is it a matchup check? Sure, but also matchup checks are important in this game because there's 85 characters. So, like, your matchup checks are literally part of what makes a character good, you know? Next up is a character that I think that got a little bit of a promotion from my last tier list, and that is going to be one of the three Miis, Mii Sword Fighter. Clearly the worst Mii. I think this character has what it takes to win, but the problem is, they're kind of the opposite of DDD and Plant. They have a pretty solid neutral, they have a good advantage state, but the problem is if you do not get down throw into up air, or tornado into up air, or weak chakram into like kill move, this character cannot kill you if you use the good set. And in order to get kills, you need to use hero spin, which then makes your recovery waivers and it makes the character way more fragile. So you end up being able to kill Mii Swordsman more consistently off stage. So it's kind of a push and pull. Do you want the damage and the better recovery and maybe some cheese? Cool, you're not killing until 160, and it sucks to have to kill at 160 because there are so many characters that can hit you once and advantage you for the stock. Even characters down here like Lucario. Like, if you can't kill Lucario until 160, you're going to explode. It's not good. Chakram's a great projectile. Tornado's good. Yeah, he's okay. Let us continue with a character that got a random PG stats video recently, and that's going to be Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. has a lot of actually good stuff. He has some pretty good normals. Forward air, back air, up air are very, very good. His jab is amazing. His forward smash 2-frame is crazy. He has a great out of shield option in terms of up smash. He also has something that literally no Bowser Jr. does yet for some reason, which is literally footstool side B out of shield into kill. You get footstool side B into forward air or footstool side B into up B swing. I'm pretty sure also works. No Bowser Jr.'s do that for some reason. He has a really good kit of moves. The problem is if you're not getting the specific things that he wants, like the early percent, up throw, up air thing, like he's not really going to randomly be getting up airs on you because you don't really need to jump against him like that. And also his side B is like good, but it's kind of cheesy and it's not actually a good move in neutral. Like, it's not accomplishing anything because you can just kind of avoid it. Also, he has a kill throw and forward throw, and back throw I think is kind of a kill throw. Bowser Jr. is good enough. The Princess of Hyrule, Zelda. I think Zelda is a pretty one-dimensional character, but holy shit is that one dimension so good. Phantom is so good. That move is ridiculous for no reason. It's actually broken. It is one of the best single zoning moves in the game. It's like, I think it's the best non-charge shot zoning move in the game, but that's kind of all she has. I mean, she has, again, sweet spots, and she can randomly kill you super early because of, like up air is super strong, lightning kicks are super strong, Din's Fire she gets that is really strong, her smash attacks are really strong, but the problem is all she's doing is trying to bait you in and then hit you, and that's all she can really do. She has up B out of shield, she has an okay get off me option in terms of Nehru's love. She's just a little slow. Her disadvantage kind of sucks. Like, it's one of the worst in the game in my opinion, her disadvantage. So she gets like caught on ledge really easily and also caught juggling really easily. So she can like get hit and then accidentally lose because she's just gonna get juggled for like 20 seconds and then die. But she also can just hit you once, phantom, phantom, phantom. And it's just so good. The move it's so silly. Definitely good enough to do some damage at a tournament, but in my opinion, not like super good. The Belmonts have a lot of good stuff. If you play a character that needs to get in, character's really good, does well versus the fighting game characters, does well versus Luigi, does probably well versus a couple of other characters. But the problem is, as I mentioned before with a couple other characters, the Belmonts are a character that randomly lose. They're not good at getting off the ledge. They're not good at recovering. I just think it is a pretty big struggle to get hit and then get back into neutral with this character. You can sidestep their down air, force them to the ledge where they suck. They don't have good air mobility. If they don't have their double jump, they're just going to die. So it's a little bit hard to play this character. But when your stuff is working and it's going and you have the side B and you have your fairs working and your F tilts hitting and like your whiff punishing everything, character looks terrifying. That's kind of just what happens in this game, is all of these characters, when they get going, look terrifying, and that's why there's only 3 unviable characters in this game, arguably 2, because Lucario beat T at a local. The neutral is a lot of flailing, right? It's a lot of, I hope this hits, I hope this hits, I hope this hits, I hope this hits. Whereas like I feel like some other zoners that are going to be put a little later can kind of force people to do something and then react. Whereas I feel like the Belmonts, the moves don't really work that way. Speaking of accidentally losing, welcome to Duck Hunt. This is kind of insulting for Duck Hunt. I think Duck Hunt is a good character, but the problem is Duck Hunt can barely get kills. If you don't get side B into back air or side B into up air, you're not really getting kills with this character. And the problem is, in a game where so many characters can just advantage you and kill you, I don't care that he has a frame 1 can. I don't care that he has some escapes. I don't care that he's slippery and kind of fast, because he needs to still outplay his opponent so many times in order to actually get kills, whereas some characters, even like some like other mid-tier characters, only need to fucking hit you once, get you to the ledge, kill you. Duck Hunt's not one of those characters. Even the Belmonts are that character. Zelda's that character. Day-to-Day is that character. Like some characters here, in my opinion, give Duck Hunt a hard time because they just have better win conditions than him. So Duck Hunt doesn't really have a win condition like that. So he's more solid overall, but doesn't have the blatantly strong win condition like some of these other characters. Speaking of not having or technically having a win condition, but it's so goddamn hard that it doesn't matter, Marth. I know, Marth haters. It's fine. You can leave your comments. I'm aware. It's fine. I'll give you 10 seconds. Are they done? Marth sucks. Marth is a sword character. He can keep you out, he can keep you an advantage. But the problem is, this character only accidentally kills you, but not accidentally in like the way that I was talking about with like, oh, Plant and Day-to-Day and, or sorry, D have their random win conditions. Marth's win condition is, I hope I spaced it right. And hoping you space something right in a game where half of the cast is blindingly fast isn't a good winning strategy. That's not a winning strategy, is to hope that you space everything right, considering that many characters can mess with your spacing or have projectiles so then force you to approach, or like there's so many inconsistencies that the game has that make Marth hard. If the game was slower, Marth would be better. He's too inconsistent, so yes, he can randomly get kills on you at 40 because of like tip or forward smash or like side B at the ledge with rage. He can't do that consistently enough, and I don't care, oh, but I'm gonna show the chart where like Marth actually on average gets a kill. He doesn't. You're lying to me. I don't care what the chart says. I don't know why that exists, but it just never feels like that. It will never ever feel like that. Lucina is just scarier because you know when you're going to die. There are times like if Marth kills you at 40, you're like, okay, Marth killed me at 40. But you're assuming that you're gonna live until like up throw percent or like 180 because that's just how the character works. So like there's no fear factor unless you're getting hit by the side B already and you're like, oh god, side B. He doesn't force you to play weird because he can randomly get kills. He doesn't. And like, is that annoying? Sure. But is it true? Absolutely. And if you say, ESAM, that's inconsistent logic, I don't care, that character sucks. We got 2 more characters in this tier, and the first one is going to be a character that I literally just lost to at a local, and that is Isabelle. I lost to Axel. This character's still kind of bad, right? Like, Isabelle doesn't really have a definitive win condition, as I've talked about with a couple of these other characters, but she's strong, right? Like, Slingshot is annoying to deal with. Down B is annoying to deal with when you're also dealing with all this other stuff. She has good ledge trapping. She has great edge guarding. She sometimes can struggle to kill, but also sometimes she randomly kills you super early. She has the best jab in the game. I think I put it as the best jab in the game. It's one of the, if not the best jab in the game. That's a kill confirm. She's a little bit hard to hit. She's a little slippery. She has, you know, a way to deal with projectiles in terms of neutral B, but the problem is she's just not as overwhelming as a lot of these other characters. Like, she has some really, really good stuff. She's just not as overwhelming as some other characters. And the last character in the spot, Donkey Kong. The way I think about the game is a little bit different now. I still don't think DK is good. He has a ton of awful matchups, but accidentally winning and accidentally losing is a big thing because DK can accidentally win a lot because his advantage is fucking insane. He is a strong character when it comes to advantage. He kills super early. His ledge trapping is terrifying. His advantage is actually probably the top half or third of the game, and he has like 4 kill throws. So he's consistently getting kills. He has decent enough normals. He's still not great. I mean, he can get edge guarded really hard, but also the meta currently isn't edge guarding characters. Like, the meta has shifted away from edge guarding characters and more into ledge trapping characters. And while DK will still get ledge trapped to shit, he's not gonna die for it because he's heavy. So he's gonna get put in the same situation over and over again and maybe die. But most characters, like the only 2 characters that are edge guarding characters that I can really think of are like Pika and Game & Watch. DK does have his flaws, but the meta has kind of moved away from there being like his flaws being accentuated because he's simply not gonna get edge guarded because most people aren't edge guarding characters. And he's one of those characters that's like, I got my hit. Dead. Like, did you see the game 5 Chunky Kong versus Cola? Cola, a top 10 player in the world, got 3-stocked. because DK just hit him and he fucking died. Like, that's crazy. That's insane, the fact that that can happen. And like, DK's advantage is just so good. I really wanted to put him in like the tier higher than this, but I do feel like he's just a little bit too inconsistent. We happened to see 2 really strong add-ons from DK like back to back, and that's not going to happen consistently, or maybe it is. I mean, we'll see. But also Hikaru was like, yo, down throw up B for me brawler, so I guess he's going to be me brawler main now. I don't know. Now we're into mid tier. Kirby is definitely the lowest character in mid tier. Kirby's better than people give credit for. I do think, of course, Kirby is slow and can get walled out, so sword characters are hard. But also, Kirby's advantage is kind of scary. It's not as good as DK's, but it's kind of scary. And also, Kirby has really, really good edge guarding because down air is broken. Also, Kirby's crouch like invalidates half of neutral against like a lot of characters. Like, crouch invalidates neutral against like Zero Suit and Wolf and any character that's like short hop and do aerials. Crouch is just better, so you crouch and then just up tilt. Up tilt is insane. Also, again, there's Kirby Dare Ride. This character has a decent amount of results because I know there's the French Kirby Je suis choc, and then there's of course Jeja, who's incredible. I think Jeja got like a big upset recently. I don't remember who it was though. Jeja Kirby. And again, obviously, I'm not talking about like results equal suddenly the character is good. I know that's not how that works, and that's never been the case for it worked for me. But I feel like some characters' metas are getting a little bit more solid and a little bit more fleshed out, and I feel like Kirby is absolutely one of those characters. Because again, the damage output of this character is ridiculous. The combos of this character are really, really good. Because again, just all you need is a little bit of cheese. Look at that. Like, unreal like ability to edge guard. Of course, not everything's gonna work all the time, and sometimes you're gonna get zoned out, and sometimes you're just gonna fucking die, because welcome to this game. Sometimes everyone dies, and there are some bad matchups for Kirby, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Kirby has the tools and the combos and has copy ability to make a lot of matchups better. And also, Kirby kills mad early. Like, Kirby's kill potential is ridiculous with like forward smash, down smash, up smash, obviously. Then you have back air, you have dash attack, you have up throw. Like, character kills. Continuing on is one other big boy, and that's going to be Ridley. We got the pinks and purples here. This character has a lot of good things. He has crazy aerials. He has some of the best killing in the game. He has some of the best 2-frames in the game because of its forward tilt and its forward smash. He has like some meta. He has some just like invalidating moves, like neutral B on certain recoveries. His like damage output is really good. Side B is a really good command grab, even if it is slow and reactable. But overall, this character is just going to get outpaced, right? Same as Kirby, right? You're going to get outpaced. You're going to get like bad matchups. He has a lot of meta-relevant bad matchups, like Palu and Steve and Aegis and Mario. Like, a lot of common characters just absolutely obliterate Ridley, but he is swingy enough that he can win anyway, because he can just randomly get the hit, he can randomly get the up B, he can randomly get the side B, and so he's just like a better version of DK to me. Like, DK has a better advantage state, but Ridley is less flawed of a character. If you want to flip these, that makes sense too. I don't necessarily disagree. I just think Ridley's a little better. Next up, we have one of the kings of early Smash. That was Ike. What Ike does, he is great at. Nair up air, nair back air, normals, killing, but he is slow and he is obvious. So he has one plan, and the one plan isn't good enough to win against a lot of characters that have either one better plan or like multiple plans. Ike has one plan, and if it's not working, he's fucked. And that's just how it is. Ike does have some results though. He is doing very well in Japan. He got like 9th at a major recently. Ike is terrifying. He can kill you super early. He has Nair up B to like SD. He has Nair up B to kill at like 70. If he has Rage, it's terrifying. But again, a lot of characters are faster and have better advantage and are scarier, even if they don't kill you as early, because they're just going to advantage you to death. And Ike doesn't really advantage you to death. He just kills you at 80. So yeah. Next up is a promotion from my last tier list. I apologize. I am so sorry to the Ice Climbers players and the Ice Climbers lovers. I'm sorry I put them in low tier. I'm sorry, okay? They're mid tier. They're a decent character. Because what I am realizing is that sometimes it doesn't matter if you have 9 8 2s, because there's 75 relevant characters, so it doesn't matter if you have some losable or unwinnable matchups, because you're probably not going to run into them unless your unwinnable matchup is Steve, which he still does well against. Character's still like bottom 20, it's fine. Like, they're not great, they're not an amazing character, but they have some shit. Desyncs, they have the damage output, they have a lot of setups, but of course, you can become half a character. You can time out Popo. There's a lot of negatives to Ice Climbers. They have some pretty good meta-relevant matchups. They beat the fuck out of Kazuya. That matchup sucks. Like, they are so good versus the fighting game characters. It is ridiculous. Ice Climbers are a huge matchup check. They're probably one of the biggest matchup checks of all the characters that I've talked about so far. And like, if you don't know it, they're a top tier. Like, if you don't know the Ice Climbers matchup, you are screwed. Like, you are going to get obliterated. Like Exodia, obliterate. Like, it's not going to be fun. But if you do know the matchup and you separate them and you edge guard them correctly, like they're up B, and you like don't try to punish side B because you know the desync blizzard is going to happen, then like they're worse. You can have Big D get like top 3 at a major, and the next major he can get 25th or 33rd because he ran into a Pac-Man and a Belmont. That's the character. Like the character's inconsistent, which is the reason they're down here. If you're talking peak or like good matchups, they're here, in my opinion. But they do have a couple of checks that still keep them down here. Even though if they don't run into those, or if the other person doesn't know how to play the matchup correctly, they're still gonna win. Like Ice Climbers are still gonna win. Next up are the Pits. Again, I think the Pits are good. I think they got sauce. I think they have a lot of solid stuff. Literally just, they don't have a top rep. The best rep of Pit is DeBuzz and he doesn't play, and it's also Ray's from Australia. He has one of the best nairs in the game. He has great normals, he has great speed, but the problem is he's not really gonna cheese you for kills very often, and he has an exploitable recovery. So he can accidentally lose a lot, because his disadvantage, I mean, he has down B, which is good, but like a lot of characters can mess with it anyway, and he doesn't really have anything like, whoa, he killed me super early, except for like up air drag down forward smash or something, which isn't really gonna happen frequently enough for me to care about it. They have some good stuff, but the problem is they don't have anything ridiculous. They don't really have a lot of flaws, but they don't have anything ridiculous. And in this game, a lot of times having something ridiculous is more important than just being solid across the board. So honestly, because of that, I'm gonna do this. And after Dark Pit, we have Pichu. Pichu's offense is still one of the scariest characters in the game if you get hit. Their combos are ridiculous, their damage output's really high, but the problem is in this game, because Pichu is so light, he randomly dies. All the time, and he gets zoned out, and he gets out hitboxed, and he gets just random things will randomly happen to Pichu. Like Pichu is only like relevantly good against like heavy characters, but even then that's terrifying because if you miss an edge guard against a Bowser, you're gonna get F tilt 2 framed at 55 and explode. So even though his offense is literally like top 10 probably, his offense is amazing. His boost grab is, or sorry, his roll cancel grab is amazing. It's so good, but it doesn't matter because he's just gonna get hit and die. Like honestly, it's this. Ice Climbers are better. Next up, we have a character that I feel like people forget is good. We got Gunner. Gunner is crazy. Capitancito is incredible, and there's also a couple of other Gunner players. I know there's like Elijahman or something from Canada who just did well at the event, like the $15,000 or $50,000 Canadian event thing. Gunner has some of the best ledge trapping in the game. Gunner has great get off me options in terms of up smash, up tilt. If you use the rocket jump, the strong up B, it's really good. Gunner's just really not common, so you don't see it often, but Gunner's like really good. I don't know what Gunner's worst matchup would be other than like Falco. It's really hard to get into Gunner. Gunner's really mobile, like not literally fast, but it has like F tilt and fair and nair and like stuff to keep you away. And it's really hard to get around Gunner, not even from like a you don't know the matchup thing, but just like it's hard to get around Gunner, like objectively. I feel like Gunner has so many layers to all of these mix-ups. It's kind of like Duck Hunt, if Duck Hunt could kill. Next up, we have a character that a couple of people in chat have mentioned already, Meta Knight. What I said in my last tier list is like, Meta Knight should never be getting these like things and he has so many bad matchups, just play a different character. But the thing is, a lot of the characters that Meta Knight does well against are like very relevant. Like Lucina, like Min. I think honestly he does pretty well versus Steve. Rob is a really relevant character. Mewtwo, like I'm just looking at my other list over here. Peach, Game & Watch, Pac-Man, like a lot of like really strong characters just get Samus. Like honestly, I was low-key thinking of picking up Meta Knight for Samus. Like a lot of meta-relevant characters just lose to Meta Knight. So it's realistic that in a tournament, you're gonna find a lot of matchups that are good for you. And even some matchups that aren't good for you based on the combo, like Fox or something like that. It's like, okay, I edge guard. He has edge guarding, he has the combos, he has annoying neutral, and then of course he has some moves that you just blatantly have to respect, like down B, like forward smash that you just have to not fuck with. Meta Knight's good. He's not great, but he's good. Robin is pretty bad, but character does a lot of damage. And again, randomly will win. Great ledge trapping in terms of the arc fire stuff. A lot of characters can't effectively deal with the thunder stuff. You have amazing arrows with Levin. Obviously, I think Robin may be a little overrated on this list because, again, not having Levin Sword is a big deal. Running out of your tools to be good is a really big deal because suddenly you're a worse character for like, 30 seconds or 10 seconds. 10 seconds is a lot of time, right? 10, 12 seconds is a lot for not having an anti-air anymore. He kills you mad early, like super early, and has a lot of things to just be like, I'm gonna spam win conditions. Like, Robin has good win conditions. I just think that we have, like, the Robin mains are worse than the top, like, Meta Knight main in Abadongo or Big D, or like Neotono, but I think Robin is still like a better character. But also, again, as I mentioned in my last video, if you want to up or down a character by like 4 or 5 spots, it's the same thing. Like if you really are like, oh my god, Pichu is better than Robin, I'll be like, okay. Like it's not like steadfast. Like the only ones that are like very definitively where they are like bottom 7 and like top 10. It doesn't really, like, they're all negotiable up like 3-5 spots. Shout out Greg, he's really good. That's fun. After Robin, we have a version of a character we already have in the tier list, which is Villager, who's similar to Isabelle. Villager is a character that has all the good things that Isabelle has, right? Edge guarding, good out of shield options, strong, like, you know, take you off the stage combos. You have good neutral in terms of having to do with Lloyd Rocket, you have Tree, you have Axe, and you have one of the swingiest moves in Bowling Ball. Bowling Ball and Down Smash are such swingy moves because you get Down Smash into Bowling Ball or Bowling Ball off stage, or Down Smash into Up Smash. Character kills really surprisingly well, like actually very, very, very well. I mean, you have like a decent amount of villagers doing well. You have Kep, you have Bobby Wasabi, you have Pokelam from the Northeast. I think there's like 1 or 2 other villagers that I'm missing that I forget that's like actually pretty good. Like the character has a lot of good things. You just have some really bad matchups. But again, as I talked about with Ice Climbers, sometimes having bad matchups doesn't matter because you just win anyway. You get your win condition, and Villager's win condition is Bowling Ball. And Bowling Ball's fucking broken. Lucas is upper mid tier. Again, Lucas has a lot, right? Double jump cancel's there, forward air stuff, like all of his aerials are really safe on shield. His kill potential's crazy, he has PK freeze, he has an invincible up smash. A lot of really good stuff. But the problem is in my opinion, of all the characters so far, he is by far the hardest. Lucas has some really good stuff in general, like short hop fair and short hop up air, like again, the aerials of this character, the grab is pretty good with like 3 fucking kill throws for no reason. Lucas theoretically is broken. Like I think Lucas theoretically is like here or here, but the problem is he's so applicably hard that it barely matters. Like you can't keep up playing super top Lucas for like an entire tournament, and even if you do one tournament, you're going to do poorly the next tournament because he's just too hard, and he doesn't have anything easy enough to just coast. You can't just coast as Lucas. You have to be playing on your shit all the time in like every matchup. The last 2 characters in this tier, we have 2 heavies. King K. Rool, character got some sauce. Nair just beats most recoveries if you don't have like a bunch of ability to like move around and stuff. He has a good grab game. He's really strong. He has belly armor. He has a counter. He has intangible up air. He can kill super early because his character kills out the ass. He's heavy, has a decent enough recovery that like you can edge guard, but like so few characters in this meta are edge guarding characters that it basically doesn't matter. And he has some pretty decent matchups across the board. Like Kirby Kid like just doesn't lose to Steve. I think he does like okay versus Roy. Like he has a bunch of even matchups and even maybe some winning matchups in like the top tier and like upper high tier characters. Like is he not a great character? Yeah, but he's solid. He's really solid. This is probably the biggest non-nerf demotion of any character on my tier list, and it's Bowser. I think Bowser sucks. I think Bowser's not a very good character. It's funny, I talked about accidentally winning and accidentally losing, and while Bowser is a character that can accidentally win because you have like 2 frames and you have just like the power of Bowser, he honestly accidentally loses more than accidentally wins. His disadvantage is one of the worst in the game. His recovery is one of the worst in the game. And the thing is, he doesn't even have an advantage state like DK's. Bowser's advantage state, like certain matchups it's good, but overall it's not particularly scary. If a Bowser jumps at you in the air, you're not scared. You assume they're going to bait you, fast fall, and then up tilt or up smash. Like it's all baits for him, whereas DK actually has good aerials. Like I understand why people would want to play DK in a tournament set over Bowser, because Bowser is a character that he doesn't have as good of a grab. Like Bowser barely has cheese other than I hard red you cheese, as opposed to I gotta grab at 45 because you hit my shield, dead. As a tournament character, DK is better than Bowser in my opinion. Bowser does have some great things, again, frame 6 out of shield up B, frame 9 out of shield side B, good command grab in general, flame breath, a lot of good stuff, which is why the character has results, right? Like Hedo in Japan is amazing. He's like top 10 in Japan. And then of course you have Leon in the US. I don't know if there's any European Bowsers. This character's falling out of meta because as sword characters become more relevant and as juggle characters and as zoner, like Bowser loses to so many archetypes of characters and like all of them are common. So if they're doing well, it's because the Bowser is outplaying you / you don't know the matchup. So we have made our way to low high tier, and the first character in low high tier, I know, I know, this is gonna sound insane and unbelievable, but the lowest character in low high tier, this character that's been missing, Dr. Mario. Dr. Mario, as I talked about, has win conditions. Pill, down tilt, down throw. There are so many options for Doc to randomly get a kill. And yes, is he slow? Sure. But the thing is, the only things he has to worry about are really mobile, big sword characters, like Aegis, like Lucina, and like Min Min, right? Min Min's a bad matchup. But did you see the D-Doc? It literally almost took a game from DeBuzz, the second best Min Min, or third best Min Min. Maybe Justice's Min Min is better at this point. I don't know. Sumo Tsuto does really well in Japan. Bacon gets like top 32 at majors like once, like 2 or 3 times it got top 32. I really think this is just a really slept on, underutilized character that actually has a lot. He's terrifying. In a tournament setting, he's terrifying. And I'm considering tournament characters to be part of the rubric of this game. Do you want to say that maybe DK should be up here like Doc? Yeah, I understand. I get that. But the thing is, Doc has somehow like as much, if not more cheese than DK, but also somehow has a better recovery when you have your double jump. When you don't have your double jump, you die. Armor on your down B, so you can armor people out with down B, and he just kills so early. He consistently gets killed so early, and his up B is one of the best up Bs, especially like probably the best killing up B in the game. Good character. The second lowest character in this tier for me is going to be Chrom. So ironically, some of the bad recovery characters are next to each other. Chrom obviously has a lot of amazing strengths. He has a great up air. He has just good moves in general, right? Like in general, most of his moves are better than Roy's moves because they don't need a sour spot, right? And he kills super early and has a bunch of crazy combos. But the problem is, like Doc, he accidentally loses like a ton. Maybe honestly somehow more. Like I feel like Chrom gets edge guarded equally as much, if not more, than Dr. Mario, and that's saying something. Chrom is a character who in theory, if you play really well, he's broken. He's absolutely broken. But you get hit once out of your double jump. You can't double jump in neutral as this character, and that kind of throws off a lot of mix-ups because people know you're coming down, because if you double jump and you get hit, you're gonna die. You actually just die. But there are plenty of characters down here that can cheese out tournament wins against Chrom because Chrom's playing really well, really well, really well, and then he got back thrown and died. It's the Ganondorf effect, except way better character, right? So yeah. I think this is a little bit of a promotion from the last tier list. I think Toon Link is low high tier. Toon Link has a game plan and he can really stick to it. His full hop is so good that it doesn't matter sometimes. Like there are very few characters that can legitimately catch Toon Link for dash away full hop bomb. Up B out of shield. F tilt's a really good move. I think the Toon Links are like optimizing their combos too. Not less so with back air, but more with like double hit nair, up tilt, F tilt, and stuff like that. The character can edge guard really well. The character obviously has really consistent kills because of boomerang and bomb to forward air. You have Z drop bomb into up air. You have just everything into up air too. Like I know that Japan thinks really, really, really highly of Toon Link, and I understand why. He kind of fluctuates on my tier lists based on like what I'm valuing more that week. But right now I'm valuing like consistency in terms of kills because killing is really, really important in a game where you can get hit once and die, is like most of the cast. I don't even know who Wadi means at this point. Mewtwo. He's fast. He does mad damage. He has a million ways to kill you with back throw and up throw and forward air and back air and up air and forward tilt and shadow ball and side B into forward air. And then if you ever get a down B into a smash attack, you have up tilt into smash attack. He has a lot of stuff. But the problem is he's really light and he's big. So Mewtwo gets comboed really hard and randomly just dies. A lot, and that's like the thing holding him back, and not even like because tail, but just because he's light and big. It's like Ridley, he might be better than this. It's just like there's almost no reason to play Mewtwo when you can just play Samus, because Samus is just a way better Mewtwo that's like slower, but who gives a shit. This character has also fallen off a lot. They have only got buffed, it's just they fell out of meta. That's Inkling. All of the characters that I've talked about so far that are randomly really high, like Doc, like, you know, Bowser being low, K. Rool being high, Ice Climbers and Meta Knight being higher than before, it's because they can randomly get wins. Inkling cannot. Inkling has to outplay you the entire game. The only characters that can randomly get wins on, it's not even random, it's like, oh, up throw upper works really well on your character. Like Snake. Inkling has some good matchups, right? Like Snake, I think they still do well versus Joker, even though you never see Inkling anymore, so it's hard to know if they do well versus Joker, and also there's no Jokers. Does decent versus like a decent amount of the top tiers. But the problem is, they do well versus the top tiers in theory, but then those top tiers can probably just randomly kill them. And Inkling can never do that. The most random kill you're gonna get is a roller at 90, and randomly killing at 90 is not the same thing as randomly killing at 20, like a lot of characters can. Their advantage isn't good enough. Their neutral is really good, but it's not good enough because someone can just spam really favored risk-reward options like Wario Nair, Kazuya Electric, Steve, anything, and they're just gonna die, right? Like, it's not worth it. And we're talking about a character that is lower on my list because they can randomly lose. This character can randomly win. Bayonetta. Bloom Forever's really good. He's incredibly good. What a strong player. That honestly is a good player of their own right. Clearly, we've seen that with the Mii Brawler and their secondaries. Lima is crazy. You also have Deathspade, who's done really well recently. Bayonetta's results are super, super high on the rise. Bayonetta is an edgeguarding character, so all the random characters that like kind of get away with not being great at recovery, but no one edgeguards, so it doesn't matter. Bayo's one of the characters that just goes, oh, I don't care. and just kills you for it, with up B, with nair, with down air, with witch time. When you go to some top tier matchups, it's a little hard for Bayo to get kills, which is why they're not higher. You need to like get like jabs or specifically witch times, but it's a little bit hard to get those consistently, but also you're still consistently getting 0 to 60s and 70s and 80s, and I think that Bayo's could afford to camp a little more to actually, you know, let their leads marinate a little bit. Like, I feel like they approach way too much. It's not like a Leo Byleth situation where it's like, yeah, Byleth in theory, results-wise, is the best character in the game, but like clearly that's not the case. Bayo's a weird character, so you need to know the matchup. So like characters like Duck Hunt and Bowser Jr. and stuff like that, you need to know the matchup in order to do well versus them. And if you don't, you're gonna get obliterated. But even if you do know, you're still gonna randomly get side beat and down tilted and up tilted, back aired, like, right? Like there's still so many good tools, but if you don't know the matchup, it's gonna be that much worse. Bayo go crazy. You know who also go crazy? Jigglypuff. This character is insane. Puff hits you once and kills you. She's like a top 2 edgeguarding character. It's like Puff and Pika are probably the 2 best edgeguarding characters. Combos out the ass, damage up and out the ass, can randomly win. Also can randomly lose, but the randomly winning against Puff is kind of hard unless you specifically play a kill combo character like Mario. Mario can randomly win against this character. But if you're like, I'm gonna outplay you, it's kind of hard to do that. I mean, we've seen Hungrybox beat top Yoshis. We've seen Base Mage do crazy well against so many players, like even like Palu mains. They have cheese with Sing, they have cheese with IDJ combos, and like landing up air and rest, and like there's so many little things that you have to be ready for against Puff, and if you don't, you're gonna die. And if you are ready, you're still probably gonna die, because the flowcharts that this character has are ridiculous. Like, Puff is a good character. Don't come at me. I know, I've said this character's good for a long time. The hero of Hyrule is back for their second spot, because there's 3 of them. Where the fuck is that character? Link. Low high tier. Theoretically, Link is like top tier. Bomb infinites and crazy bomb combos and all this crazy stuff. But the thing is, in order to use those, you have to sacrifice recovery, and not be having a recovery blows. So while Link has some great normals, forward air, boomerang, F tilt, bomb, they're all really good, I just think that he has to constantly make decisions that can cost him a stock. And not in terms of like, I'm gonna try to approach, and if I miss, I'm wrong. It's like, no, he pulled bomb out 10 seconds ago, tried to do a combo with it, then got grabbed and thrown off stage, and then he died. Because you can't just blow up the bomb, because someone's just gonna notice that and jump off stage and kill you. I still think Link is like low-key amazing, but he's so simple. He just is a better Ike. And I think he has a lot of room to grow still, but the Links that do the combos aren't showing up well enough in results to know that it's like theoretically possible. And yeah, it's not like, oh, there's just no Link that's doing well. Yes, I get that. But in a meta right now where there's so many players of so many obscure characters doing amazingly well, like again, Tsumotsuto, you have Big D, you have Neotono, you have Yez, you have J-Jaw, you have Kirby Kid, you have Leon and Hero and Sandro, like and Hikaru and Axel. You have so many amazing players of so many characters down here that just being like, yeah, well, theoretically, just bomb combo everyone doesn't hold up. It's still better than them because Nair's a really good move. Nair's an incredible move and his kill potential is fucking insane. It's more like, I don't care about results, but the lack of results means a little bit. Following Link, we have a much better zoner and a character with some silly hitboxes, but also better limit as Wii Fit trainer. I wanted to put Wii Fit higher than this, but it's kind of hard to justify that. Great zoning, great playing on the ledge. One of the only characters legitimately comfortable on the ledge. Very few characters are like, yeah, I'm fine being on ledge. Like maybe they have like good getting off the ledge, sure. But the ledge itself, no one's comfortable there except for Wii Fit, which is a unique like plus for them. Also, they kill so early. With deep breathing, they kill with a back air like 85, dash tag at like 110. Like it's literally a stronger Pika dash tag with deep breathing. But again, their matchups are a little awkward and they can't deal with short characters. And there's like 10, maybe like 9 relevant short characters of like the top 25, 30 characters. So it's a lot of bad matchups. And also, they can get outzoned by characters like Samus or characters like Steve. They get rushed down pretty hard because they don't have great out of shield options. So like there's a lot of like archetypes that kind of give this character trouble that you have to hard outplay people. Like playing Wii Fit versus Fox, like yeah, you can edgeguard them and you can, you know, snipe their recoveries and you can keep them away. But like if you get hit once, you're gonna take 90. So it's a little hard. It's not even a traditional heavy, but I would still consider them a heavy. Incineroar is kind of good. Terrifying character. Being scary in tournament to me is important now. Ignore the Lucario down there. I know he's not scary most of the time. It's fine. And Incineroar is terrifying. Having 1 or 2 random good results doesn't necessarily mean much. Incineroar kills you at 70, and has revenge. He has a way to deal with projectiles, which almost no other zoner has, like effective, like really good way of dealing with it. He has a really good way of dealing with his disadvantage because like revenging when you're at 50 and someone's gonna hit you for revenging if you're wrong is like super worth it because he can just, if he's right, he's gonna murder you at 12. He has like one of the best sums of moves in the game. Every one of Incineroar's moves except for like up tilt is like a good move. The only other character that I can think of here that has like that good of moves, it's like Ganon has really good moves and then Kirby has really good moves. Other than that, like Incineroar's like a top 4 moves of the people so far. He's really, really good. He's just slow. He has good advantage state, surprisingly. Great ledge trapping. He's good at getting off the ledge too because he always has a ledge jump into revenge. So, and also his recovery is surprisingly hard to edgeguard as most characters can. Pika can, thankfully, but most characters can't effectively edgeguard this character unless they like don't have a double jump. Yeah, terrifying character. We were talking about him in chat earlier. I think this character is one of the most overrated characters in the game. Sephiroth sucks relatively. Sephiroth has a lot of good things. He has Wing. Wing is crazy. Wing is so good. But he has some of the most awkward to use moves in the entire game. I don't understand what his game plan is except get Wing and then spam back air, which is a pretty good game plan, not gonna lie. But he's really awkward. He has like okay out of shield options because he has like footstool dare out of shield and he has nair. He doesn't really combo you and he tries to advantage you with up air, but up airs frame 1 billion and then has 1 billion frames of end lag. So he's not like a normal sword character that can just be like, I hit you above me, upper, 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 upper. Sephiroth can't do that. Sephiroth has to like time his stuff. But Wing is ridiculous. And he's pretty good at edge guarding, honestly, and his counter's really good. So he has like ways to deal with projectiles because side B goes through it and he has counter. But I don't know, he has such an awkward game plan. Like realistically, am I being probably a little too harsh? Yeah, I get that. He's probably like here. But I don't know, I feel like he's so underwhelming if you play a character that can either kill early or can keep up with Wing. I've never thought Sephiroth was super, super good. And I know Sephiroths have results, right? Like Tweak Sephiroth is good and Ken Sephiroth is amazing. And Ned does on and off well. But he's just hard. Again, me talking about characters, I'm talking about solo maining the character, right? Whereas Ken and Ned, well now Ned, PT is a pools character. So he can just outplay and just game plan people in pools. Sephiroth doesn't really have a solid game plan. He has to like outplay you and kind of work on you, which is one of the reasons I underrate probably a character that's going to be a bit higher, like top tier. But I underrate them because they're really hard to play in like round 1 and round 2 pools because he's just hard. And he has to like only be playing against his opponent. He can't just game plan people because he doesn't have a solid game plan because his game plan is what? Use his frame 14 or whatever it is fair over and over again, but at the end of a short hop, so he has to short hop wait fair, but he doesn't have a good fastball, he doesn't have a good empty jump, so like, I don't know. Sephiroth is weird. You know who's not weird and like way more straightforward and also has a lot of broken things? Luigi. He has win condition. He has, I have game plan. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. I'm only going to do one thing, and then the second thing to kind of make you forget that I'm gonna do the one thing. He wants to grab you, and he wants to do 1 billion damage. Frame 1 invincible down B that has win box for some reason. He kills super early. He has a 0 death. He has down throw up B. He has down throw back air. He has just crazy combos even without grab because if he hits like a random fair, he gets like fair, nair, up air, turn around, up air, back air. Like he does so much damage. But of course, he is inconsistent because you either don't get the grabs because you're playing a passive character. He loses to like every zoner, which is a lot of characters and a lot of really meta relevant characters, and also loses to most sword characters and also loses to edge guarding characters. But sometimes it just doesn't matter because he hits you anyway and kills you. So he can accidentally win a lot, but Luigi can accidentally win and accidentally lose. So that's why he's down here as opposed to like higher, basically. Oh my god, I hella forgot Rosa. No. Rosa was supposed to be here. I had her in a tier lower and I moved her up in my head. I literally forgot Rosa. No. Rosa's actually supposed to be here. But yeah, Rosa is low high tier. I can kind of agree with the buzz. This character's fucking hard. It's really hard for Rosa and Luma to randomly get wins. Like, they don't accidentally get wins a lot. They have to outplay their opponent. And while they can outplay their opponents, there are so many characters in this game that accidentally get wins. They can do well enough versus Rosa. Even if Rosa, like, maybe wins the matchup, and it's, like, theoretically +1 or theoretically even, like, you just die. Like, Fox Rosa is, like, theoretically, like, even or +1 for Rosa because, like, yeah, just stay away, edge guard, don't get dash attacked. And then you get dash attacked once because welcome to Smash Ultimate, and then you explode into 19 pieces of flammable candy. Character has a lot of good stuff. Great with the desyncs and all the funky little tricks, but the problem is that's what they are. They're tricks. If you understand how Rosa and Luma work, they work a lot less, or it just comes to a standstill, which is why a lot of DeBuzz's games are really slow. And I know DeBuzz doesn't think the character's particularly amazing, but I think they're good. I think they're definitely, again, playable. Everyone except for these 3 characters is realistically playable in tournaments because every single one of these characters, except maybe Banjo, has had results, right? Clearly, a top 10 player in the world plays this character. An arguably other top 10 player in the world plays this character. Top 10 player arguably in the world if you go to Japan, or a top 10 Japanese player inarguably plays plays this character. And like same for Abadango and Meta Knight, and like Big D's like top 20 or 25 in the world right now, and he plays Ice Climbers. Like, welcome to Smash Ultimate. That's just how this game is. But yeah, low high tier, maybe better than Chrom. I'll put better than Chrom. Anyway, now we are in the crux of high tier. First up in high tier is going to be, in my opinion, the worst fighting game character, Ken. I still think Ken's the worst. I know Ken has some better matchups than Ryu, but I think overall Ken is less consistent. He has cheese, sure, but it's you can fall out of his stuff. And there have been a lot of tournament sets where people fall out of a Ken Shoryu and then Ken dies for it. So we can accidentally lose. Yeah, I can accidentally win, but so can Ryu. So it's no different, right? High tier. Definitely super strong character. Auto turnaround stupid. Nair into down tilt is ridiculous. The combos he has are really good. Decent edge guarding, decent disadvantage depending on the matchup. Good versus sword characters, not great versus zoners, but neither is, like, none of the fighting game characters are good versus zoners except sometimes Kazuya. If you think Ken is better than Ryu, sure, I understand. But both characters have just good stuff, right? I'm actually gonna put Ryu here as well, because they're both in high tier. I'm just gonna put characters between them until it like makes sense. They have stupid auto turnaround, they have great ledge dropping, they kill super early. Ryu's more consistent at killing, whereas Ken can randomly get earlier kills than Ryu can, because like up air combos into up air Shoryu off the top, whereas Ryu is like, he has better Shoryu because you can't fall out of it, and also he has Tatsu. Tatsu's way better for Ryu, except specifically on like Fox. Just has a better fireball, is able to camp. The one thing that Ken has that, in my opinion, just objectively better is the ability to do roundhouse out of like combos. So it's like down tilt, down tilt, down tilt, you know, roundhouse, as opposed to Ryu's, which is, I think that's his heavy jab. So they're both incredibly strong characters. They just lose really bad to a couple of really, really important characters. Get out your books, because we are reading with this next character. Hero. He has spells, he has buffs, he has side B, he has up B, he has up tilt, he has a lot of really good moves. It's pretty rare that Hero randomly loses in this game, because the only thing to like randomly loses Hero is like get edge guarded and don't get zoom, which would suck, but most of the time you get zoom, so it's fine. But do God, does this character randomly win? Whack, thwack, kaboom, magic burst, crits. Like, everything about this character is just terrifying. You get random shield breaks because you have like psych up forward smash and it just breaks people's shield, and then he kills you at 30 with a forward smash because he's gonna roll a buff, because of course he's gonna roll a buff. It's hard to like say like, oh, this is where he is, because depending on the game, he's literally a different character. You can just roll for buffs and be consistent like Aka does in Japan, or you can roll big and do kabooms and stuff like that, like Kabi and Beast Mode Paul will. I think there's another pretty good hero, Sparkle, I think is hero. You gotta really know the matchup, and even if you do, you might read a little slow and then die anyway. So fun. This will probably rattle a lot of people, but I think one of the most overrated characters in the game is Sheik. I think Sheik, if you play Sheik perfectly and at 100% all the time, Sheik is like top 15 or 20. But the problem is, if you are wrong even a little bit, you lose. Sheik is not a character that can accidentally win. Sheik is a character that outplays you and does her combo, and then just edge traps you and does really good stuff. But she doesn't accidentally win a lot of times, if you understand how the character works. Even though she has -2 fair and great aerials and great mobility, is a little bit stubby and light. If you don't get the kill confirms, like the drag down up air into down smash or forward smash or raindrop, you're not killing with this character until you get an edge guard with like Needles Bouncing Fish, which sometimes can last until like 150 or 160, and if a character has max rage against Sheik and just decides to throw out a move, it might trade and you explode into candy. Sheik gets gimmicked so hard. Any heavy character, even though Sheik should theoretically beat Bowser and DK and Incineroar and all those characters, I feel like Sheik is losing if she is not up an entire stock. Like, if Sheik is at 20% last stock and Incineroar is at 130, Incineroar is winning in my head. Good character, but I think overrated. I know like a lot of people in Japan put Sheik in like top 10, which is fucking insane to me. I mean, they like Valley, like, yeah, play perfect. But then they put Piccolo, I don't get it. Next up is a character that is also a ninja. Greninja. I've always been kind of a Greninja not believer. Again, he's a good character. High tier is a good character. He's very simple. Greninja as a secondary, so good. What a great secondary, because he's simple and effective in matchups that are good for him. But if there's a matchup that's not simple, because you can't just whiff punish with dash attack, this character struggles. Also, he has like really specific kill confirms, because down tilt up smash, even though it's good, randomly doesn't work on platforms. And also, the percent window is kind of small for it to kill. Then he has randomly forward smash, he has down tilt or dash attack into forward air, which are good, but not fantastic. They're not the most consistent moves. His advantage is crazy, and he can randomly win, but also he can randomly struggle to kill, and need to kill with like forward throw or up throw, and then he's gonna get edge guarded because his recovery is kind of bad. Greninja doesn't have an out of shield option, but also he has dash attack. I don't know why everyone's like, yeah, man, Greninja's top 10. It's like, dude, look at Europe, and it's like, wow, I'm studying who is good, and then Tarek, who's a Kazuya player now. This next character has had a resurgence as of late, but not because of Kamame, who still dropped the character, but Mega Man. Character's kind of a masher, low-key. MPG spams down air and forward air. Those moves are good. He is a really interesting keep away character with a lot of interesting tools that are very different from a lot of other characters. Down air is amazing, leaf shield's amazing, pellet's obviously great. You have great aerials. He sometimes struggles to kill, but also sometimes randomly kills you at 50 because he has like Z-drop, back air, up tilt, which kills super early and does a lot of damage. He has good edge guarding, nasty shield break setups. There are a lot of US Mega Mans that are doing well. I don't remember if there's any in Europe, and I know Japan has Repo. And in my opinion, he does pretty well versus like most characters. I mean, he struggles with some. Pika, Mario, Fox are definitely big issues for him. I feel like is solid enough to win. Doesn't really have a bunch of cheese, except for like random setups that you have to be ready for. Like, he's not gonna always kill you early, except for like up tilt specifically. He's just solid, but it's also hard to randomly kill Mega Man because he has a great disadvantage in like up B and then down air and sight and down B and like all those things. So it's hard to randomly kill Mega Man unless you're one of the aforementioned characters or like Kazuya, who kills everybody. Next up, we have Corrin. I think Corrin's crazy. Amazing neutral. She's a little slow, but she has amazing neutral with forward air and nair and back air and down tilt and grab. Some of the best juggling in the game because up air is huge and kills you at 100. She has pin, which is one of the most unique kill moves in the game. One of the most unique moves in the game, period. She has a great advantage state. She has great edge guarding. Kind of exploitable recovery, but that's only if you're hitting the very edge guardable, like the very edge guarding characters like Game & Watch Pika. Leo played the character for a while. Shattuck is amazing with the character. I'm pretty sure you still have Lee from Japan. Corrin, in my opinion, is a really, really solid character. Again, does she lose to some rushdown characters? Absolutely, but also she does 1,000,000,000% and accidentally win because she Fair Dragon Fang shots you at 55. So, yeah. Next up, we got Captain Falcon. Captain Falcon. Falcon's really good. Falcon is the definition of accidentally winning. And because it's up big, he doesn't really accidentally lose, except, again, like Game & Watch Pika specifically. His combos are some of the most lethal in the game. Literally, like, probably like the 4th, 5th, or 7th, top, like, 7 most lethal combos behind, like, Steve, Kazuya, Pika, Mario, Brawler. I know a lot of the Falcons don't necessarily believe super high in Falcon anymore. I think OJ does from EU, but also I'm pretty sure he plays Wolf too. So like the solo Falcons, like Nixie doesn't go to that much even though he believes in the character, but Fatality is starting to have like a lower opinion just because some other characters are just accidentally win harder. Really good safe landing aerials. Sometimes it doesn't work with like side B and stuff, but he has like good edge guarding. He has, you know, good enough recovery. Also, everything combos into knee. Upper combos into knee, nair combos into knee, downer combos into knee. Kill throw with back throw. You have great jab, you have good ledge trapping, and then again, he has IDJ combos. Maybe like worse than people think, but still really good. Next up is the character that has a very similar name to the last one, Falco. Falco is one of the best advantage states in the game, and one of the single best up tilts in the game. I think I put it third. He has drag down combos. He is one of the characters that will actually just go edge guard you, which is something that a lot of characters don't, so he has a niche in terms of that. He has really good killing, because up tilt back air exists, and down tilt exists, and back air neutral exists, and again, throw off stage nair or forward air edge guard exists. Is he the worst Star Fox character still? Yeah, absolutely, because the other two are f***ing broken. But he's still a really good character. I think he's a little slow, so he does struggle with characters that are faster and can pressure him because he doesn't really have a great get off me option. I mean, he has a frame 3 nair, but it doesn't really hit super well, unfortunately. He is anti-zoner. I don't know if there's a single zoner, like a hard zoner that beats Falco, because he also has a frame 1 reflector, so he beats characters like Samus and Pac-Man, and I think even he beats like Rob. He deals 70% easy, like up throw, IDJ, up air into landing there, into up tilt, up air, or up air fair, and then you're off stage and he has to edge guard, and he can edge guard you. Like, silly character. You know who's also crazy, but also worse than a lot of people thought they were, and both of the people that were the premier players of this character don't play them as much anymore, except for specific matchups. Olimar! I hate the fact that DeBuzz is still going to use Olimar against me. It pisses me off. But Olimar has lost 2 of their 3 biggest reps for the most part. Shutone still plays Olimar in conjunction with Pyramithra, but he is a Pyramithra main. And then DeBuzz is a Rosalina Luma and Min Min main over an Olimar player. He plays Olimar specifically for like Snake and me. Character is good, but the character also randomly loses. The meta just progressed to be better than him because Steve does really well against him. Pyramithra does really well versus him. Kazuya, even though he probably like is losing, is still terrifying and like not worth it. Sora does really well versus the character, and those are all the DLC characters. The meta is just favoring swords at the moment, and Olimar has never done well versus swords. Also, the meta has like hard anti-zoners like Falco. Like there are a lot of characters that can just randomly beat Olimar if he kills purples. It's a lot harder. His neutral isn't super great. It's just obnoxious. One negative of Olimar is he's probably like a bottom 20 or 30 character getting off the ledge, because like it's either purple side B or you're f***ed. That sucks. And he has frame 2 whistle, but a lot of characters have multi-hit or just have such a good fast fall with their up air, like a lot of sword characters, like up air fast fall, that like you up air, it whistles, and then they fast fall, can't get hit, and then hit Olimar for trying to hit a button. Literally all the rest of the characters are incredibly meta relevant. This is like low-key where I want to put top tier, but everyone complained that I have a top tier of bigger than 25 characters, so I stopped it at 25 characters. But in my head, all of these characters are top tier, except for one of them. And that person's next, Diddy Kong. It's hard to value Tweak's opinion sometimes because he also thought pre-patch Wario, who was clearly top 5, was like bad. But Diddy Kong won a major. Aaron has won majors. But that doesn't mean I don't think they can be they're not overrated, because commonality doesn't necessarily mean how good the character is. Everyone's bad at dealing with monkey flip, and no one camps the ledge. And then the people that do well versus the Diddy Kongs. Diddy is also quite a difficult character technically, because he needs to Z-drop a lot of arrows because he wants to keep banana, but also he's sometimes really simple because it's hold and shield, like it's shield, roll, 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 banana forward smash. And sometimes that's just how the character works. He has simple win cons, but also I just think his win cons and his stuff are a little bit more ambiguous and more read-based than some of the characters we have above. And he's not blatantly fast enough to just be super, super strong. You can tell that I'm not biased because I lose to this character most of the times I play them in pro play, but I still don't think they're super broken, and that is Zero Suit Samus. The second most mobile character in the game. As I kind of mentioned, Zero Suit is a hard character to play in pools. It's like Sephiroth. It's just like, oh yeah, you have to play against the opponent for Zero Suit. But the tools she has are ridiculous. Frame 1 jab, nair flip kick, combos, up air, zair. Her mobility is literally just, it's her mobility. It's 100% her mobility and down B. Make this character impossible to catch. Her disadvantage is so good because of it. Her neutral is so good because of it. Her mix-ups are so good because she's just so fast and can do anything, and you have to be scared of burst ranges that like barely exist on any other character in this game. So Zero Suit gets a huge plus for that. A lot of people still put Zero Suit in like top 10 or 15, so this is like double that in terms of characters. This is, I think, 30th. So she's hard to play and has a ton of bad matchups. Like, ignoring Pika, just take me out of the equation, right? Because Mars is going to beat every Pika. Roy and Chrom are still really hard. You have Fox that's hard. You have, in my opinion, Peach does well versus Zero Suit. In my opinion, Shulk and Wolf do well versus Zero Suit. In my opinion, Kazuya does well versus Zero Suit. And Sora does well versus Zero Suit. And Diddy does well versus Zero Suit. And Olimar does amazingly well versus Zero Suit. And Falco does well versus... Like, she has a lot of hard matchups. And while she has some cheese with Nair down B, Nair fair down B, the cheese isn't super easy. But the thing is, she has so much control that for the most part, it doesn't matter. It's really hard to cheese a Zero Suit. But yeah, Zero Suit's crazy. But also not super strong, which is crazy. Next up is Psychic Boy, Ness. This character is a menace in the meta currently, which doesn't make sense. Because like, Ness loses to sword characters, but Ness is literally more common and gets more results than almost any character currently. I'm pretty sure it's like Steve, Rob, Pyramithra, and Ness. Maybe Samus is up there. He's one of the 5 most winning characters in the game for some reason. I don't know why. There's a billion Nesses. And again, this isn't even my bias. That's objective. But there are so many good Ness players because you have Gact, Send, Syrup, Pika Chris, S1. Also, you have Atada. There are so many good Ness players, and they have good reason. Ness is one of the characters that is the best at killing in the game. He kills the way heavy characters kill, except he's not heavy, and he's mobile, and he has magnet, and he has kill throws. He nullifies energy projectiles, which, you know, I hate him for that. And his mobility isn't the best, and he has moves that are kind of big, but the thing is, his air mobility is ridiculous, and he's floaty enough in a good way. He has magnet to help disadvantage. He has fly mag combos. He has some of the most untapped potential of any character, but you can also play him pretty simply. Like, you can play him simply with just matching your moves and just being like, well, just spamming good moves. But then like the high skill cap of like fly mag combos and multi mag combos, he's so scary. And he can also be like, I'm losing, down smash to the ledge at 40. Like, he just kills people. I watched the Syrup games recently. He just did that to Mars, and he just did that to the Buzz. It's like, I'm losing, threw you off stage. I threatened you to knock off high, down smash, and you die. His win cons are so strong, and his win con is also, oh, you're at 95, let me get a grab. Also, PK Fire is broken. PK Fire on platform is like one of the dumbest and like most strong neutral things you can do in the entire game of like any character. Full hop, double jump, PK Fire down on platform is broken. I avoid that for the most part, but it's just ridiculous. Silly character. You know who's also a silly character? The best player in the world plays him. Byleth. I think this is probably the highest I've put Byleth on the tier list before. Byleth literally plays a trifecta of 3 moves in neutral, and it's like top 10 neutral in the game. Nair, forward air, dash attack. Slingshot's so good for Byleth. He can keep people out, he can pressure in mid-range, he can burst in with dash attack. You have to sometimes shield because of the threat of dash attack and Nair, and then he grabs you. and does down throw back air, kill you at 55 at the ledge. He also has some huge cheese when it comes to forward smash at the ledge, up B stuff, and shield breaks. And Leo does that all the time. Like, Leo just gets up Bs at 35 and kills people. You saw it at Summit. You saw it versus Akola at Ludwig's. You see, like, it all the time. It's hard. But also, Byleth has... The reason that edgeguarding is almost meta-relevant is because Leo, when he plays Byleth, is an edgeguarding ass dude. He edgeguards so much with this character because up B is just a checkmate. Like, there are, like, I think 70% of the cast or 60% of the cast, when they don't have a double jump, they just die because you just grab ledge, drop off up B, and they just die at 50. This character's really good. I played them for a bit, and I'm like, oh wow, this character's like good. Because I just saw it, right? Like, I see Leo play, and I was like, wow, I understand it now because like Slingshot can kind of help me. And then I played this character, and I was like, oh, they're ridiculous. They do have some really bad matchups, like Pika, but again, Pika's not really relevant. And then they get outshined by a couple of sword characters. It's just Leo's fucking god. Terry's the top of high tier, or next to the top of high tier. Obviously, we don't have as much Terry anymore because the best Terry, Riddles, is a Kazuya main now and only plays Terry for certain matchups. But wow, this character's dumb. You have just really strong neutral, you have invincible moves, you have auto turnaround. The negative of this character is he does not have a kill throw, which is a little bit of a big deal. But overall, this character is just ridiculous because he just hits your shield anyway, and then sometimes breaks it with like down tilt, up tilt, power geyser, and you have to parry the power geyser. Yeah, Terry's ridiculous. You can SDI him sometimes, but like sometimes you just get hit anyway, and he kills super early, and he has really strong matchups. He just loses really bad to like Samus and Steve. And then of course he randomly steals games, as I mentioned. It's really hard for Terry to accidentally lose unless you're an edgeguarding character, but as we've already mentioned, edgeguarding characters aren't particularly meta. Ridiculous. So silly. Yeah, Terry's broken. You know who's also broken? Because I forgot to put them a couple characters ago, but it's also a super meta-relevant character, Cloud. His advantage is really good. You see Spargo have crazy advantage with this character. He has amazing neutral, like literally the second best neutral move in the game. The best being Steve up tilt, and then the second best being Cloud back air. -3, huge reward. It's a kill move, it's a combo or combo starter, or tech chase starter. Crazy good character. The problem is, I feel like Cloud can randomly lose because he gets hit off stage and dies. And there are some characters that can edgeguard Cloud even if you're not an edgeguarding character, because all he has is air dodge and up B. And while he can swing, and while, you know, Spargo's recoveries are ridiculous, I feel like there's just an underutilization of edgeguarding Cloud, even to myself, because I mess up a lot and I still don't know the timing of his new up B. It's hard to bully Cloud, and Cloud does have some shit. I mean, did you see the Nico combo at the end of his set versus whoever he played? I think the next time Skyja gets hit, he dies. Like, ridiculous. That combo was absurd. So he does have some cheese because he can do this into finishing touch. He also has up air. Silly character has a lot of good tools, but like is a little exploitable. Like a little bit. Because we're getting to the characters that are either not exploitable or like don't give a shit. And Cloud gives a shit a little bit. And then we have the last character in high tier. The single best counterpick character in the entire game, and if you've watched my content or the PANDA content that talked about it, you would know who this is. Min Min. She's so good. Has combos out the ass. Literally everything you would need on a character. In the matchups that she is good in and the stages that she is good on, it feels so bad to fight against her. Does she lose to a decent amount of characters nowadays? Yeah. Diddy does well versus her. I think that Bayo does well versus her. I think even Kirby can do decent because Kirby crouches the whole time. I like that one's a lie. That one I'm memeing. Shulk does really well. Pika does really well. Rob does really well. There's a lot of checks that are also relevant that do well versus Min Min. And also there's some stuff about Min Min that a lot of people don't abuse, which is the fact that if you swing a move, it pings with the arm. So if you have a lingering aerial, you can just do an aerial through arm and then the second arm, unless it's Megawatt Smash Attack specifically. But also, my Mii Brawler Nair, weak Nair, beat out Megawatt Smash Attack. So I don't even know if that's true necessarily. But the problem is, she is a character that can accidentally win because like, haha, I'm losing, ram, you win, right? Just two frame, like hit once, two frame, you're dead. But also, she can randomly lose because her recovery and her disadvantage are par. They're not subpar, they're just par. Right, because there's a lot of characters with bad disadvantages, but hers isn't particularly good. So if you get under her and can edgeguard her, you're great. If you can juggle her a long time, it's gonna be hard. Like, her disadvantage is not good. And that's why I stopped playing her, because I think she does really well in the matchups that I need her to, but I am used to playing characters with broken disadvantages because I play Pika and like Mii Brawler who have really good disadvantages. But she's really, really good. Obviously, the results of this character are quite high. You have Proto, one of the best players in the world, co-maining the character. You have Justice, who just got top 8 at port priority. You also have DeBuzz play the character. She's fucking broken. If you want to put all these characters in top tier, sure, I'm not going to argue with you. Like, if you think these are top tier and then my top tier is just huge, that's fine. But I'm trying to have a little bit smaller of a top tier this time. So if you think they're top tier, I'm not going to argue. That was the end of high tier. Now we are going to top tier. It is literally 25 characters. And number 25 is one of the most seen characters at top level, the French Master. I'm sorry, that was really bad. I'm sorry. Gluto, Wario. Wario is a crazy character because Wario is one of those characters that in theory he loses 15, 20 matchups because he loses to sword characters and he loses to some rushdown characters and he loses to like Steve and then he nairs you once at 0 and you die. This is one of the characters that matchups does not matter. He has some of the best air mobility in the game. He has some of the best disadvantage in the game. He has one of the best recoveries in the game. So it's really hard to cheese out Wario. The only character that can effectively cheese out Wario is this one. And Kazi is broken. Otherwise, you're not cheesing out the character. You may like a time out the character with Sonic. You may play really lame as like this character. But overall, I just feel like Wario is absurdly good. He's ridiculous. And he has like good anti-airs, great combos damage. Even without waft, his combos still do like 60 or 80%. He has an amazing back air, amazing forward tilt. Sometimes he does struggle to kill, but the problem is if you struggle to kill, you just are taking longer to get wafts and then the next stock is easier. Because again, I'm not going to say like, yeah, he plays a 2-stock game because you still have to get the hit. And against certain characters, getting that hit is really, really difficult. But like, the fear factor is real, and then you start playing weird, you start getting bit all the time, and then you just die. Yeah, Wario's crazy good. Do you think Pikachu could be S tier or someone like Tweaker Leo Mantum? Wow, f you! That's a crazy, goddamn! Probably one of the most underrepresented, but everyone knows they're kind of broken character, Young Link. I know there are a lot of Young Links because you have Kobe, you have Colonies, you have Super Semi. This character is overtuned as shit, honestly. Like, they have great zoning, amazing combos, great normals, great combos in general with just their normals. They don't even need arrow. Then they have Boomerang, which is safe on shield, which is like 19%. They have drag down combos. The problem is this character is not great in disadvantage. They have like decent airspeed, but they kind of have to commit to one side and then they can like beer reverse, but like it's, you know, beer reversing with arrow or Boomerang, which are a little laggy compared to some other beer reverse options. And then their offstage is okay. Their recovery is good. It's not great, it's not bad, but it's good. But the problem is, at top level, there are so many characters that can just kill them for that, or just ledge trap them, because also Young Link can't really get off the ledge very well. So it's just like, you get caught off the ledge and you die for a lot of characters. But yeah, character's really good. I think it's more like this, actually, but Young Link is still ridiculous. Super, super strong character. Next up, we have one of the characters dominating Japan, 4 in a row, actually, of just really strong, dominant characters in Japan, and also the US for some of them, but specifically Japan. First one, Lucina. Proto Banham is a god, and while Proto doesn't do as well in Japan as some other players, he's ridiculous, and Lucina is just a strong character. She is a character that has nothing bad about her. I lied. Her disadvantage is kind of mid, and she's not great at getting off the ledge, but her strengths are so high that it doesn't matter. Good juggling. She has great edge guarding, honestly. Like one of the best edge guarding in the game, or at least Proto's edge guarding is really good, so it makes it look like it. Good out of shield options. She has good get off me options in terms of up B. Solid neutral. She has a gimmick in terms of shield breaker, because that move is fucking broken and breaking shield is fucking absurd. You like forward tilt them once and then just go like jump backwards and then shield break and they explode and they die at 30. Cool move. Love that design. /S. No, the thing is, she can just back air you, and like she's still solid, and it's not like a lot of characters can overwhelm Lucina to the point where she's struggling. Like, the most aggressive character that does well versus Lucina is, like, Pika. But also, like, she doesn't have a single -2 matchup. She's really, really good. Next up, a character I put in top tier last tier list, and then one of their players went on a ridiculous 640 plus game win streak on Elite Smash. You know it as the Yoshidora challenge, even though it's just a win streak challenge, but Yoshi, this character is so good. Has the best universal combo breaker in the game with double jump. You cannot deal with double jump until they're at a high enough percent where they're getting knocked out of their armor, and that's just not gonna happen very often. This character is dominating, asterisk less than a cola, in Japan. Yoshidora is like currently the 3rd best player in Japan. Yoshi has a solid recovery, has amazing advantage, really dumb combos. Like, he literally kills you super early. He has like falling up air ID or like double jump down air. He has great juggling. He has the highest air mobility in the game, which makes his disadvantage pretty good. He has a great command grab and a B reverse that he can do with it. Eggs are a strong, like, kind of get off, like not get off me tool, but like a weird zoning tool that can combo into stuff. It's a great advantage tool. He has a spike, which is amazing. He has a really good at edge guarding because he has that and nair. He has nair out of shield. He has good out of shield in general. He has up smash, forward smash, jab block setups, back air into up air, back air into forward smash, back air into back air. Back air and just in general is just a good move. This character's ridiculous. Yoshi's just a ridiculous character. He has a lot of reps. He's just strong, and he's like relatively simple in terms of pools, so he's a good pools character, and then he's also great at top level. He can't get shield poked, which is a thing that a lot of characters do. He just is strong. He has so many little things about him that are just broken. Next up, we have another character dominating Japan, And also, he's come to the US quite a few times and has done quite well. Top 8'd in multiple events. Sora. Character's good, and people saying Sora's not good blow my mind a little bit. Character has had stuff for a long time. He has crazy combos. He has great neutral. He has strong projectiles, good edge guarding, great recovery. He cheeses out games like hell because he can get Nair, IDJ, up air, up B. He can get Nair F smash. He can get fair down tilt into up smash, like Nair up smash in general. This character's ridiculous, and people just pretended he wasn't for some reason. I don't get it. Like, so good. How is Sora better than Min Min? He's literally better than Min Min. The problem is, Sora, I don't know who Sora's bad matchups are. Because I know everyone's like, oh my god, these characters and these characters, because they're like underplaying Sora, and then Kamame just beats them all. And I know that, like, obviously one player doing really well doesn't mean you don't have losing matchups, and I get that, but like, he's systematically beating them. It's not like he's cheesing them. It's not like he's randomly getting lucky, but like, he just beats them all. Kamame is obviously an amazing player. There are also other good Soras that have been doing well. It's mostly just Kamame though. Just probably an underrating compared to most people what they think of this character, Kazuya. So Kazuya is like actually kind of broken. But the problem is, I see a shift in the meta. Not that Kazuya's not going to do well for a while. We've seen what T's done. We see what Riddle's done. They're crazy. If you saw what Mudace did to Riddles, you will understand, oh, this character has a big flaw. It's not off stage. The amount of characters that are good at juggling in this game are crazy. But everyone tries to edge guard Kazuya, like get him on the ledge. But the problem is if you get Kazuya on the ledge, he has neutral get up into rage drive, he has ledge hop side B, he has lots of things that are just like, I'm blatantly just throwing out risk reward, and I'm gonna probably win one of these situations and kill you. Kazuya has no reliable way to land on any upwards disjoint, which is like half of the meta characters in this game. There's a lot of characters that can just upper Kazuya, and again, it's fucking terrifying, because if you mess up once, he's back in neutral and he's gonna electric your short hop forward air, and then you're gonna die. He is the cheesiest character in the game, by far. Maybe second. He's the scariest character in tournament, because yeah, you can wall him out perfectly forever, but if you don't once, he's gonna kill you, because he touch of deaths you, easily. So again, just for a reference, Kazuya is 20th in the game, which I think is fair. I think all these characters are ridiculous. Next up is going to be a character that I think I put it around the same spot last year, so I think I put her actually at 20th. She has stayed a consistent meta threat and is one of the characters with the best results in the game and has the most obvious win con, well, one of the most obvious win cons in the game, Samus. I know I lose to Samus. It's not about me. I promise it's not about me. It's fine. I thought this character was good before I started losing to her. It's fine. Has one of the simplest neutrals in the game with charge shot, fair, nair, bomb. That's all you gotta do. You hit someone once. You get charge shot, down throw back air, does 50 for some reason. You get them at the ledge and you do bomb charge shot, GG's. Shake my hand. There are like 2 characters that can get around this effectively. Her disadvantage, while exploitable, is only exploitable by characters with really, really good jumps. So think Falco, Zero Suit, because otherwise she's gonna bomb and be annoying, and if you overcommitted one time, you're gonna get hit. She has some of the best reps, like some of the most reps and best reps in the game, because you obviously have Siski, who is amazing. You have Icy Mist, who in my opinion is the best Samus in the US, but then you also have Teaser. She's so solid and has such an obvious win condition, because her ledge trapping is the best ledge trapping in the game. And having the best of something means that you're gonna play for it a lot, but Samus does so easily. Does she lose some matchups? Sure. But you know what? Olimar isn't super common of a character, and that's the worst matchup. Falco isn't super common of a character. That's another bad matchup. She's really good against most of the zoners. She also struggles with Steve, which is kind of not good, but also most characters struggle with Steve, so it barely matters. I think this is going to be probably the lowest I've ever placed this character, and that character is going to be Pokemon Trainer. Top, I think that's 18th? Very, very straightforward, very strong. They have obvious strengths. Squirtle is annoying and short and forward tilt and good aerials and throw combos. And then Ivysaur is up air, down air, Razor Leaf, up B, edge guarding. Charizard is back air and back air and back air and back air. But they're very good. It doesn't matter if you know what they're going to do. It's hard to deal with still because then they have a little bit of mix up, right? You have armor on your move. You have great out of shield options with Charizard if you get too aggressive to try to avoid the back air. You know, they can always swap, which is frame 1. They just have a super solid game plan, but not a lot of characters can effectively deal with this game plan. Like, it's hard to beat a Pokemon Trainer unless you beat all 3 of the characters, and not many characters beat all 3 of the characters. Like, some of the top tiers do, like the very top tiers, like I think Pac-Man does well, I think Pika does well, I think Steve does well, I think Rob does well, but most characters can't just be like, yeah, Pokemon Trainer, whatever. Really strong, just a lot of PTs have dropped the character / don't play anymore, like Leffen, so it's hard to say that the character's better than this when like, there are so many characters consistently either getting good results or are absolutely broken in theory, and PT isn't really broken in theory. Like, PT, the ranking of them was carried by their results, and now they don't have them. Character's still crazy. Top 20 is very, very good, right? So, yeah. Honestly, the character that has probably had has had recently really good results in growth, or growth and results, Snake. We have so many good Snake players right now. We have Apollo Kage, we have MVD, the DreamHack Atlanta 1st and 3rd placing. We have Dio, we have Shogun. We have so many good Snake players. You have Kronos, who beat Tweak, who's also incredible. I'm sure there are more Snakes that I'm forgetting about because there's a ton. Snake is such a good character. And basically every single Snake other than Shogun solo mains the character. He is a little bit lower because I feel like the meta has just kind of gotten out of hand in terms of him, because I feel like he loses to almost every Fighter Pass 2 character, because he loses to Steve. Aegis is like even, but probably winning for Aegis. And then in my opinion, Min Min is winning or even for Min Min. And then Kazuya is terrifying, even if it is maybe good for Snake. And then Sora is, in my opinion, bad for Snake. So like he got introduced to like 4 to 6 losing matchups. And he hasn't really got any changes in a long time. So the character's good. Down tilt, nair, back air. Grenade is of course incredible. Nikita is of course incredible. Good ledge trapping. Strong killing overall. You have down throw reads. You have so many little things. But his disadvantage is, while it's good, it's not great. And a lot of the top tiers can just disadvantage him, or like keep him a disadvantage for an entire stock, because they just do that. Like they just hit him. Even characters like Sephiroth can do really well versus Snake. Even like Incineroar does really well versus Snake. There are a lot of random characters that are like down here that do pretty good versus Snake, like Ike and Villager. Like even if they're not winning, they're still scary. And he's hard, of course, but I mean the Snakes are consistent, right? Like they all place pretty consistently. Like Dio and Shogun place very well. MVD and Apollo Kage place really well in the States. Kronos just doesn't travel as much, and he's like an up-and-comer, but he doesn't really do poorly. He sometimes just, you know, gets higher than his expectations. So yeah, Inkling also does very well, it's just the character, true. So yeah, Snake really struggles sometimes, but also he's broken if you can't deal with him. We have probably a huge underrating of the character relative to most people's opinions, and that's Wolf. I'm talking about Wolf being a solo main. Wolf is sometimes so hard to play because all Wolf is outplaying your opponent in neutral. But if you don't know what your opponent's going to do, or they're really random, it is so hard to play this character well. If someone is very sporadic with how they play against Wolf, it's really hard to fight against that. Like Wolf is a better character against better people, but then when you play like the high tier players, it's hard, which is why you've seen random super good Wolves like Moxie and Ouch get upset by people that are like random niche character specialists that do weird things. But do they play really well? Did Jackal beat the Buzz? Yeah. Was Zachary amazing when he played Wolf? Yeah. But like for some reason there's no Wolves in Japan and no Wolves in EU as far as I remember. So it's basically just NA. Wolf is really, really good, and I can understand if you think he's top 10 100%. But like he's so hard to play well against an array of opponents that are just like mashing their win condition at you, because Wolf doesn't have a win condition. Wolf is just better. Like Wolf's win condition is be better than your opponent. And sometimes if they're doing random stuff, even if you're doing like good things, you're just gonna get blown up for it. So we are officially into the top 15 characters of the game. Number 15 being Sonic. This is the highest I've put Sonic by a lot. Everyone thinks that this character is like top 3. But the problem with Sonic, if you watch the video, I'll put it in the description, which is over there. Sonic players literally are the only main of a character to actively and consistently play for their stupid win condition. Every Sonic player, you can be a mid Sonic player, you can be like a very okay Sonic player, no offense to okay Sonic players, and you're gonna play for timeout. That's just what you're gonna do. That's how you play the character. Tony Z Tank was okay. He was a good player, and he played for timeout. Sonic literally just time you out. Every single game. I do think that he is a little bit worse than people think, because people just don't exactly know how to deal with spin stuff, because who the hell would want to play Sonic in friendlies? This character just wins a lot because the results of this character are incredibly high. But I feel like, again, similar to Kazuya, the reason I put Kazuya lower is like, while the results are good, I think that people still do stuff very okayly versus Sonic. Granted, I used to think Sonic was like 25 or 30 or 40, and now I'm like, hey, he's top 15, sure. So still very good, and if you think he's top 10 or top 5, yeah, I don't blame you. Like, I understand. Next up, a character that we also don't see a lot of actually broken things that this character can do, but it's actually broken. Rob. Rob zero to deaths you, and edge guards you, and has the second best ground move in the game, and also really good aerials, and also a good juggle game, but he's big. So therefore, he's not top 10. He has ways to beat shield with gyro hawking. You have so much crazy stuff with this character. He's a better version of Wario, right? Because Wario struggles to get in, but can kill you with zero. Rob doesn't necessarily struggle to get in and also has projectiles, but can kill you. Rob's disadvantage is very real. Rob just loses to most sword characters because they hit him, they go, okay, up. Oh, you died. Cool. Next up. So that's what Rob struggles with. And even though there are a ton of good Rob players, obviously, he has a lot of brick wall matchups in top tier and otherwise. Even characters like Cloud, like Zero Suit, like Falco, like Mega Man, like a lot of these characters do very, very well versus Rob. But also, he can just zero to death you, because sometimes matchups don't matter because you're clutch and you have down tilt, down tilt, down tilt, down tilt, grab, down throw, you know, up tilt, up air. That happens, right? But yeah. At number 13, we have a character that has been doing crazy good recently with one of the most up-and-coming players in the world playing them. In Kurama, we got Mario. Wow, what a good character. Clean air mobility, great combos, great pressure, great out-of-shield options. But he's not super fast and he's a little stubby, which means that he can sometimes lose to random characters because they just kept him out the whole time because he doesn't have a comeback factor like Waft, even though he does have good combos, or like Gyro combos. He can't time you out, and he is very, very susceptible to parries because a lot of times Marios want to mash their really safe aerials, and so you parry them and get the hit. But he is great on basically every legal stage, especially even if you consider two bans. He gets rid of FD and Kalos, and then he just combos you everywhere. But yeah, Mario's ridiculous. Super good character. But you know who's just slightly better than Mario? This character's not top 10 anymore, in my opinion, because they're fucking hard. I mean, they might be top 10. They might actually be top 10, but who knows? Brawler. Brawler's like Mario, but a fast faller and better. But with no top player playing them, because the fucking two best Brawler players, myself and Bloom Forever, play them as a secondary. So we're never gonna just do a full Brawler bracket. You can play mash and combo. You can play just crazy damage output, or you can play neutral, because this character's neutral is ridiculous. He is so good. Down throw thropper. You have multiple sets that you can play depending on the matchup, with a command grab versus a, air dash attack versus a helicopter kick versus an up B that kills off the top. He has so many viable strategies and so many ways to deal with the counterpick stages. Bloom's Brawler is crazy. He just plays neutral. He just dash attacks like over and over and over again, and it works because this character's neutral is ridiculous. But then if you hit someone and actually kill them, like I literally this weekend in friendlies got so many zero deaths by hitting literally a nair at zero, because it was nair, down tilt into nair, up tilt into nair, up tilt into IDJ up air, into up tilt into up air uppy. Like it just works. This character has some of the best combos in the game. Literally like equally as good to Mario's. We just see Kurama doing really well currently, because the me brawlers are myself, who I don't really travel that much, and I also main Pikachu, and then Bloom, who mains Bea. I think there are more brawlers that are coming to life. I mean, obviously you have the other brawlers like Fire to Pyro, who's my editor, shoutouts, and also Leo Haki, and I think Hikaru's playing this character more, and I think Riziasu also plays the character, and then I also know that Pelly's also playing the character more. So this character has a lot of reps picking them up, because this character's broken. He's so good, and simple, and stupid, and easy, and his advantage is amazing, and his disadvantage is good because he's a fast fall, he has fast fall air dodge, and he has down B, and he has so many options. I love this character. Someone said Palu or Shulk next. You are correct. Palu or Shulk is next, and it's Palu. I don't remember if I had Palu in top 10 before. I don't remember if I had her outside of top 10 before, because this character is crazy good. Don't get me wrong. Palu is the most solid character of the remaining characters, because she has basically no flaw. She has great movement, invincible moves in back air and dash attack. You have one of the best up airs, if not the best up air in the game. You have a great forward air. You have two framing that's down tilt into back air and down tilt into up air. You have Nair, which is a crazy move, but you lack out of shield options, and the problem is Palu doesn't really have accidentally winning. She can advantage state you for a long time, and like Nair, and then up air, and then up air, you fast fall, grab, down throw, back air. So like she has advantage, but she doesn't have anything that's like blatantly stupid. Like a lot of other characters are just, they have something just absurdly good. Or their advantage state is even better than Palu's. There have been so many times that I've seen Palu's like their Nair kill screens at 150 off stage and it doesn't kill, and then they randomly get hit at like 30 and die. Like Zombo Louis Money sets are tragic. Also, Palu's kind of a dying breed in terms of results, because you have Louis Money, you have Raffalo, who's actually doing better in Europe. I think he's like the 3rd or 4th best player in Europe at worst. There aren't a ton of crazy good Palu results. But either way, the character is still ridiculous. She's super solid. She's a great pools character. But again, Palu, kind of similar to Wolf and Lucina, even though like a better version of them, is just like, yeah, you have to play against your opponent because you're not so blatantly broken that you can just run up and do your stuff unless they like don't know how to deal with Nair, which like cool if they don't know how to deal with Nair. But like once you get to like the high levels who are like kind of competent but like still doing weird things, this character becomes way harder to play because you don't know what they're gonna do and you have to move around people. So it's like Zero Suit where you have to like move around and be weird. But yeah, Palu's still really good. Incredible character. We are here in the top 10. We're gonna get into it. Number 10, a slight promotion of my last tier list because I realized I was being dumb. Shulk. Shulk is broken. He has very few bad matchups. He does perfectly fine versus every DLC character. Literally, his 3 worst matchups are all base game, which is Snake, Pikachu, and Palutena. I lost to Kome, and then the Shulks also do pretty well versus the Palus. Those are their 3 losing matchups. They don't really lose to anyone else. Is it slow in terms of their moves? Sure, but they have Monado, which is the best move in the game. Shulk is getting more popular, which is crazy. But also a very important thing to me, which I didn't even factor into my last tier list for some reason, is that this character beats Steve. Very important meta check. Also beats Kazuya. The problem is obviously Shulk is hard, and Shulk is a lot of resource management because if you get caught out without the right arts, you're screwed. But that, like, is that gonna happen realistically? Like, that so rarely happens. And of course, this character not only can prevent cheese from happening because he has shield art and jump art, and he has a great recovery because of jump art, and he also is so hard to mess with because of like jump and speed, but also he cheeses people. He forward throws you off the stage, or like Nair fairs you off the stage or 40 and goes smash art. Forward air, dead. He also has good enough out of shield options with up B. Dial storing is fucking broken. Like, so stupid. What a dumb mechanic. Like, God, it's so good. Incredibly good character. Such a strong fucking character. Amazing. But top 10 because he's just hard. Speaking of just hard, one of the hardest characters in the game, but God, is Mute so goddamn good. We have Peach. The combos this character has are ridiculous. The neutral this character has is really good unless you're just like blatantly running into someone. The defense of this character is insane. The advantage of this character is fucked up. Float up air doesn't make sense, and it's just like the most broken thing ever. Her ledge trapping is amazing. Her recovery is good. Does she have some theory like mediocre or bad matchups like Meta Knight and maybe Knee Gunner and fucking Villager? Like, yeah, and then she hits you and kills you, so it doesn't matter, or just hits you off stage and then turnips and turnips and turnips and it doesn't matter. She just accidentally wins, which is a crazy good thing to have in a meta like this. Also, her side B's broken. I hate that move. Ling has better combos than Mute overall, I think, because he gets like the 0 to death. And Umeki's Daisy is insanely good. Pika bias? I think Pika does fine versus Peach. Pika wins or goes even with Peach. I'm personally not great at the matchup, but like, I think the matchup's fine. I literally beat Mutus the last time he played. Shut the fuck, it's not biased. This character's just good. But you know what's also insane? There's a character that probably has 2 top 15 representatives. We're talking about Game & Watch, Meister and Mia. Game & Watch has the best advantage state in the game. The best, because of up air. Up air is the best up air in the game. He has an amazing neutral with Nair, and that's about it, because who cares, you don't need anything else, and dash grab, and his animations are weird, and he hits you once and he kills you. He hits you, it doesn't matter how much you are losing by when you are playing Game & Watch, because he nairs you once and then does nair, 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 up air, up air, up air, up air, oh you air dodge that, up air, grab, up throw, up air, up air, up air, up air, oh you air dodge that one, down smash. He has the best out of shield option in the game. He's one of the best edge guarders in the game, so he actually just ends stocks early. Did you, like, Mia dominated Apex, and granted he didn't play against a Buzz, who was the second best player there in my opinion, but everyone else that he played, he actually demolished. Game & Watch has overall the most best move of like an up air or nair or whatever in the game, because he has the best down smash, the best up smash, the best up air, one of the best neutral Bs, even though it's not the best, but like he has so many moves that invalidate matchups, because he has up air, which invalidates anyone that doesn't have higher air mobility. He has Chef, which invalidates anyone who gets stuck at the ledge. He has Bucket, which invalidates anyone that relies on projectiles. And then he just advantage states you to death, and then he kills you super fucking early. He has a kill throw at like 170 if you really need it. He edge guards you with back air. He has Bomb, which is ridiculous because he gets guaranteed grabs and just he's terrifying. Oh yeah, Uppy, and yeah, Uppy is the best Uppy. He's so good. And people pretend that the character's not good because, oh, it's just Meister. But it's not just Meister, because Mia's also doing it. Game & Watch is getting more popular and doing better. Meister's doing better because he finally beat Leo once. He got second at SmashCon. He's like top 8 at like 4 majors. Mia is doing crazy in Japan. Like, Mia's right now like a top 5 intra-Japan player. So ridiculously good. But you know who's also a dumb character that has a lot of crazy results, but it's honestly just one person? Fox. Fox is broken. He's so good. Fox literally plays the game of, you're not going to react to this. And he's right every time. You're never going to react to what Fox needs to do, because his empty jump is the best in the game. And you have to respect a move like back air and down air and nair that can just come out at any time. And his fast fall, his short hop fast fall is 17 frames. Monkey Flip has more startup than Fox's short hop fast fall. There's so much mental stack, because when you're playing Diddy Kong, Monkey Flip is understandable to react to because you can hold shield if he has banana in hand, and he cannot do anything that actually hits you out of your shield besides Monkey Flip. So you're looking out for one thing, whereas Fox short hops at you and you go, okay, I'm gonna shield because he's gonna do an aerial, and then he grabs you and then throws you off stage and has the second best ledge trapping in the game. Have you seen what Light and Louis Money and all these fucking Fox players do when you're at the ledge? Does he have bad matchups? Yeah. Like what? Pikachu. It's just me. Maybe Shiny Mark. No offense to H4. He's not beating Light. Then you have Game & Watch, where Light just beats Meister now because he learned, oh man, maybe I can just not approach because he's the fucking like 4th fastest character in the game. So you can play really lame and really slow with this character, and then also he hits you and does 90%. And then every Fox is like, oh my god, my backer doesn't kill at 125 at the ledge or 130 at the ledge because they used back air 6 times previously in the stock because they're ledge trapping for 10-15 seconds. Fox is broken, and I don't care who disagrees. Because you're wrong, and if you're wrong, you should let me know down in the comments, which I'm gonna ignore, but while you're down there, subscribe, turn notifications, ring the bell. Fox is fucking broken. Luigi destroys Fox? True. That one's true. That one's actually true. Right outside of top 6, we have a certain yellow character that smiles a lot when they hit people. And no, of course I'm not talking about. You think I'm not gonna put Pika as top 5? You're crazy. We're talking Pac-Man. You have kill confirms out the ass. You have a kill throw. You have one of the best grabs in the game because it beats spot dodge, which is the only one in the game that does that. Forward smash is a final smash. Bell is amazing. He has a great disadvantage. He has some of the best edge guard in the game. He has the best or second best recovery in the game. He's just really good. Pac-Man doesn't have a flaw besides the fact that he has some losing meta-relevant matchups. Cloud's probably his worst matchup. I think he does fine versus most other characters. Even if a character does do well versus Pac-Man, it still slows the game down to a screeching halt. And at the same time, he can randomly kill you super early because he gets fair nair ledge trapping. His ledge trapping is insane because he has setups with Hydrant and he can like linger his moves and it's all this crazy stuff. And you just fucking die. I fucking hate fighting T. I'm going Falco next time I play him. Name a flaw. Oh wait, he has none. He's crazy. T is insane. He's so good. And the matchups that he doesn't want to play Pac-Man because it's slow or annoying, he just goes Kazi, which is hilarious. There's nothing wrong with this character. He's just not as good as other characters. Speaking of other characters, we got 2 characters now. Pyra, Mithra. Top 5. If you watch my Roy video, Roy's better than Mithra. Pithra's top 5. They're crazy. They have one of the best, if not the best, advantage states in the game. I think Game Watch is a little better, but Aegis is probably second because Mithra's short hop, fast fall, up air is insane. But the problem is, they are the only character in top 10 that can accidentally lose. Even Fox can't accidentally lose like this. The only character that can accidentally lose. Like, every other character in the top 5, which may I remind you, is Steve, Roy, Pika, Joker. They can't accidentally lose to most characters. They can maybe to 1 or 2, like, oh, Pika missed a combo on a Samus, and then Samus outplayed them. Or Joker got edge-guarded by specific characters that can rinse and repeat him, which are like, 10 or 11 characters in the game. Roy is only bad at recovering against a couple characters, and how the fuck are you gonna accidentally beat Steve? Like, no one does that. But Aegis literally accidentally loses all the time. The thing that people don't realize that is such a big deal when Aegis fights is they cannot double jump in neutral, which is something I mentioned when I was talking about Leo and why he should play Byleth. You cannot double jump in neutral, which means that if you jump, you're landing. And if you do double jump, it's so risky. Like you can, but if you get hit out of it and you're in disadvantage, it's really hard and risky. Aegis, of course, has a bunch of great things. They have amazing neutral and great combos, and the killing is super good, and like, Pyra has down air up smash, and the killing of this character, and the edge trapping of this character. So many good things that have been talked about ad nauseum by literally everyone. But they have more negatives, in my opinion, than the other characters. I've never seen so many players got hit once and die of any of the top tier characters. Even any of these top tier characters, I don't know who else just like gets hit and dies more than Aegis players. Like of these characters, who just dies? No one. And that happens a lot with Aegis. So yeah, unfortunate. But now that means we're in the top 4. I thought about it, and Roy is not next. It is Joker. Joker is insane. Arsene. Done. GG's. Shake my hand. Joker is harder than the other 3 characters. Well, I don't know if he's harder than Pika, but I'm biased, and I don't give a fuck about Pika. Joker is a character that you have to have amazing movement, and movement is the hardest thing to be good at in the game, because as I mentioned, with Wolf and with Palu, sometimes your movement is crazy good, and then someone just dash attacks you because they overshoot for no fucking reason, and then you get hit. Joker doesn't have great ground moves. He doesn't have great rising aerials, so Joker is entirely reliant on falling aerials and movement and whiff punishing. But only having those few options doesn't mean that your character can deal with a lot of random burst situations. And granted, he's broken anyway. He has amazing edge guarding because he has gun and he has side B and he has all this crazy stuff. Joker F tilt, down tilt. You really gonna down tilt in neutral? In neutral, you're gonna just run up as Joker and down tilt? No, you're not. Joker's really hard to play, just fundamentally. It's not even like, oh, he got the combo and it was difficult to hit. But like, it's hard to consistently make correct decisions with Joker, and then sometimes Arsene makes your shit worse, because your recovery gets worse. Rising Arsene Nair kind of fixes the problems in terms of his neutral, but then of course, you get hit for 60%, and then you hit off stage, and then you get Arsene, and then you're stuck on the ledge, and you can't recover very well because his up B is worse, objectively. Arsene is ridiculous, don't get me wrong, it's super good, but I feel like people need to prioritize hitting Joker off stage when he's about to get Arsene as opposed to up, kind of the opposite of Kazuya that I talked about earlier. Joker crazy. Again, if you think Joker's 3rd or 2nd or even 1st, I don't give a fuck. It's the same shit. All these characters are fucking broken. Speaking of fucking broken, Roy. Roy is Joker, but with Arsene all the time. With a good rising aerial, with better ground moves, with easier kill confirms, with a worse grab, but also still a broken grab, and like better edge trapping, but not a projectile. The flaw of Roy is that some characters edgeguard him, but also, ignoring my Pika bias, most characters can't deal with Roy. People are like, oh, Roy loses to Kazuya, and then you just mash down tilt, and you hit them once by any other move other than down tilt, and just hit them up, and then up air, up air, up air, up air, up air, and then Kazuya cannot fucking land. It is so hard to land against Roy if the Roy just commits to short hop, up air, fast fall. It's fucking impossible. He has so much cheese. He has jab side B, jab forward smash in general, down tilt tech chases. Like, every single time that someone is like, yo, I outskilled my opponent because I down tilted them at 50%, dashed forward, dashed backwards, and then forward smash, outplayed. It's like, dude, like, yes, technically, but also they pretend that it's not cheese, when that shit's fucking cheese. All Roy does, he like solids you till 50, and then tries to cheese you until 90, and then spams jab. And that's all he does. And it's so good. It's so good. It's a great strategy. It's so broken. Roy's an insanely good character. And then what do you think I'm gonna say? The number 2 character is Pikachu. The first tier list that I am not putting Pika as number 1. Pikachu takes his bow. Because by every measure that I could push for Pika being as good as he is, number 2 or number 1, Steve is better. Because if we're talking results, clearly Steve is better. If we're talking ease of use, Steve is better. If we're talking about theoretically, like, do the things that are possible even if they're hard, like up air bridge and no impact land combos with Steve, Steve is better. Pika has a ton of cheese, right? He has crazy edge guarding. Like, I've stolen so many stocks from top players, right? Like me versus, like Q-Me versus Leo. Oh my god, the combo, right? That's cheese, but if I can't edge guard a character, my cheese is then up air bridges. But a lot of the characters that I can't edge guard, I also can't kill with up air bridges because a lot of the times they're floaty characters with good recoveries, like Steve or Samus or Pac-Man. I'm not killing those characters in one hit, whereas Steve can kill literally everyone in one hit, because he either will jab you across the stage into forward air and then block your recovery, or he will jab forward air into up tilt, NIL, up tilt, up tilt, up tilt, up smash on the top platform. Steve is literally just so good. By every measure you could possibly consider to make Steve not the best character in the game, he's still the best character in the game. The only one is theoretically, Steve loses more matchups than Pika, because Pika loses even being generous. 6, right? Then, if you talk about Steve, you're like, okay, well, he loses to Pyramithra and Shulk, Sonic, Sora, Min Min maybe, and Cloud, and Sephiroth, and Zero Suit, and like there's a couple more characters, like 10 characters, but the problem is, Steve's way to win those matchups is to do Steve things, but just do the combo better. That's literally it. Steve players have beat Cloud players because they edgeguard them. They've beat Sephiroth players because they edgeguard them or diamond forward smash them at 50. He has a built-in comeback mechanic. He has some of the dumbest moves in the game. He's just better. Realistically, if I'm talking like super objectively, Pika's probably like here. I literally looked at that and like convulsed on the inside because it's fucking gross. I still think he's number 2. Like, this is my actual opinion. I'm not saying like I, put him higher because I'm ESAM and that's my brand. Like, no, Pika's, in my opinion, the number 2 character. He's just hard. Both of these characters are absolutely absurd, but Steve just has a little bit more. And there are like 3 ways to play Pika. I play aggro, Shiny Mark plays bait and punish, H4 plays campy. We're the 3 best Pikas. Steve has literally like 12 ways to play because he can play I'm just gonna run away until I get diamond. He can play minecart spammy, he can play up tilt spammy, he can play jab spammy, he can play TNT weirdness, he can play edge guarding, he can just focus on combos, he can just run up and hit you. There's so many different ways to play Steve that it's just fucking exhausting to know the matchup, because even if you know so much about Steve, this Steve did it a little bit differently. He can play any way you want and it's still so goddamn good. Yeah, Steve is the best character in the game. I don't think there is a way to say that he's not.
Steve.
Busted.